We all know how the prequel trilogy ends for the Jedi. Betrayed by the clone troopers they fought beside for years during the Clone Wars, the Jedi were effectively purged from the galaxy, and the Jedi Order was destroyed as the Sith succeeded in their 1,000-year-long plan to rule the galaxy. But for all the work and preparation that was done by the Dark Lords of the Sith, from Darth Bane to Darth Sidious, it's hard to imagine the near extinction of the Jedi taking place without the successful implementation of Order 66, wherein the clone troopers of the Republic turned against and murdered their Jedi allies. But the success of Order 66 was not guaranteed, and came perilously close to being discovered by the Jedi before it could be implemented by Darth Sidious, a discovery which would have most likely saved the Jedi Order, prevented the extinction of all but a handful of Jedi, and would have probably outed Chancellor Palpatine as the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, thereby unraveling the secret Sith plan initiated by Darth Bane that had been in the works for a millennium. In this video expose, I will explain how the Jedi almost discovered Order 66 through discoveries that were made by an intrepid clone trooper roughly 1 year before Order 66 was executed. During the Battle of Ringo Vinda, roughly 2 years into the Clone Wars, the Jedi made a desperate attempt to end this destructive battle, which at the time had been locked in a costly stalemate. Looking to end the battle quickly, Anakin Skywalker and twin Jedi Masters Tiplee and Tiplar led a full-scale assault on the primary Separatist command center that was overseen by the Separatist Admiral Trench. Just as it appeared that the Jedi were going to be victorious and turn the tide of the battle, Clone Trooper CT-5385, known as Tup, unexpectedly turned against his Jedi generals and killed Jedi Master Tiplar, forcing the Republic forces to retreat from the massive assault. Although Tup's murder of Master Tiplar left the Jedi, clone troopers, and even the Separatist forces in a state of confusion, the audience, being acutely aware of the events of Revenge of the Sith, understood that something in Tup's programming malfunctioned and executed Order 66 prematurely. The Jedi, seeking an explanation for why one of their clone troopers would turn upon their Jedi general, investigated the incident and examined Tup themselves. Unsuccessful in their attempt to determine the cause of Tup's betrayal, the Jedi decided to transport him back to Kamino for further examination by the cloners themselves. However, the Jedi were not the only faction interested in the actions of Tup. Having witnessed Tup's actions and behavior during the Battle of Ringo Vinda personally, Admiral Trench reported what he saw to Count Dooku. Initially skeptical that Tup's actions were anything more than a simple betrayal, Count Dooku came to understand that Tup's actions were a serious malfunction in his programming, and immediately reported the event to his master, Darth Sidious. Sidious, who understood the serious ramifications that could result if the Jedi determined why Tup did what he did, ordered Dooku to capture Tup immediately, so that they could examine him. Although the Separatist forces were successful in ambushing the Republic convoy, which was to bring Tup to Kamino, and transported him to a Confederacy space station, the Republic was able to rescue Tup after an assault on the space station by Anakin, Clone Captain Rex, and ARC Trooper 5555, simply known as Fives. Having secured Tup once again, Tup was sent to Kamino by the Republic for further examination. Once on Kamino, it is initially believed that Tup's breakdown and the resulting murder of Jedi Master Tiplar was caused by a virus, with the potential that Fives may have also been compromised in a similar fashion. However, when Tup's test results came back negative for a virus, a debate broke out between the Jedi and the Kaminoans, as Shaak Ti wanted to do an atomic brain scan, and Nala Se, the chief medical scientist on Kamino, wanted to terminate Tup and do a subsequent autopsy. After Nala Se and Lama Su, the Prime Minister of Kamino, confirmed to one another that the real cause of Tup's actions were due to a premature activation of Protocol 66, they contact Count Dooku and are ordered that Tup is to be terminated and his inhibitor chip is to be removed and provided to him. After Fives reluctantly agreed to stay behind on Kamino when Nala Se requested him to in order to undergo similar examinations, he was able to convince the facility's medical droid, AZ-3, to do an atomic brain scan on Tup. This test discovered that Tup had an inhibitor chip within his brain, which Fives and AZ-3 believed to be a tumor at the time. When Fives realizes that Tup is to be terminated, he convinces AZ-3 to do a biopsy of the tumor. But the medical droid fully removes the tumor when they set off an alarm that causes Nala Se and Shaak Ti to enter the room and discover Fives' actions. Unfortunately, Tup is not able to survive the extraction procedure, and dies while describing to Fives a dream that he's having that never ends, and that he has come to view as a nightmare. Following the death of Tup, Nala Se and Shaak Ti engage in a conference with Chancellor Palpatine to decide what the best course of action would be in regard to the tumor. Shaak Ti proposed that it be returned to the Jedi Temple in order to undergo analysis there. However, when Nala Se supports Palpatine's decision to send the tumor to the new state-of-the-art Grand Republic medical facility, Shaak Ti relents and is forced to agree with them. When AZ-3 informs Fives that they are to have their memories erased, with Fives being placed on sanitation duty upon Kamino rather than returning to his brothers in the 501st Legion, Fives escaped his clone security guards and returned to the medical suite with AZ-3. This allowed Fives to steal the tumor and confirm that it did not match the genotype of Jango Fett, nor was it fully organic, causing him to conclude that it had been implanted in Tup. Concerned that he may have a similar chip implanted, Fives orders AZ-3 to operate on him, and if a similar chip is found, to remove it. When Fives awakens and is informed by AZ-3 that he had an identical chip implanted in him, they decided to go to the clone embryo room to find out if every clone had a chip. Ultimately, Fives and AZ-3 discover that every clone embryo had a chip implanted into them at stage 3 of their development. After Nala Se and Shaak Ti arrive and find Fives and AZ-3, Nala Se tries to convince them that the chips are intended to inhibit and lessen the levels of inherent aggression that would have been transferred from the original model, Jango Fett. Further, Nala Se is adamant that Fives must be destroyed, arguing that the clones are the property of Kamino. However, we know that Nala Se is primarily motivated by the orders that she has received prior from Darth Tyrannus, which is to ensure that the true purpose of the chips, namely the initiation of Protocol 66, is never discovered by the Jedi. Shaak Ti quickly interjects and reminds Nala Se that the clones are the property of the Republic, and therefore orders that Fives and the removed chips are to be transported to Coruscant and presented to Chancellor Palpatine personally. When Fives, Shaak Ti, and Nala Se arrived on Coruscant and met with Chancellor Palpatine, Fives argued that the chips were being implanted into the clones as part of a separatist conspiracy to cause aggression within them. After hearing Fives' argument, Palpatine asks to meet with Five alone, requesting that Nala Se and Shaak Ti wait outside. Palpatine's setup works perfectly, as when he calls out for help, Shaak Ti arrives in time to see Fives overpower Palpatine's guard, take his rifle, and point it towards the Chancellor, causing her to respond by throwing Fives aside with the Force to prevent what looks to be an assassination attempt. Although Fives was able to escape and flee, Palpatine was able to acquire the chips from Fives and hand them over to Nala Se. Following what Shaak Ti thinks was a failed assassination attempt by Fives, she informs the Jedi Council of what occurred in a conference with Yoda, Anakin, Plo Koon, and Mace Windu, wherein they decide that Anakin and Captain Rex of the 501st would investigate the matter discreetly, on the basis that Fives would trust them the most as his commanding officers. After fleeing, Fives was able to successfully arrange a secret meeting with Anakin and Rex in a warehouse, where Fives informed them of a secret plot against the Jedi to use the biochips in every clone to force them against their will to kill their Jedi generals. Fives was even able to inform them that the Chancellor was in on the plot, after Palpatine had told him personally that he had orchestrated the conspiracy. Unfortunately, for the entire galaxy, Anakin and Captain Rex don't believe Fives due to his level of agitation, and when Commander Fox and his troops enter the warehouse, they fatally shoot Fives when he makes an attempt to obtain Rex's pistols in a moment of desperation. After Fives' death, Chancellor Palpatine met with Yoda and Mace and informed them that his personal doctors examined the tumors removed from Tup and Fives and found that the cause of their erratic and abnormal behavior was a parasite that was native to Ringo Vinda, which was apparently good enough for them. Ultimately, Count Dooku informs Darth Sidious that he received the biochips from Nala Se, and Darth Sidious orders Dooku to destroy the evidence to ensure that there would be no one to prevent Order 66. And we all know how this one played out. Roughly 1 year later, Darth Sidious is able to give the order for the clones to execute Order 66, which brings about an end to the Jedi Order and the Republic, and allows for the creation of the Galactic Empire under the rule of the Sith. And while we don't know for sure what would have happened if Fives was able to convince the Jedi of the conspiracy, we can be confident that it would have been better than everyone getting murdered. So there it is, how the Jedi almost discovered Order 66. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions? Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me, for the Jedi twins Tipley and Tiplar.